Elon Musk could get DOGE, could end up auditing him. They're trying to make news out of this. We're going to be over at this News Nation, just having fun with the IRS having to lay off and cut all kinds of employees just in time for tax season so that they're less likely to be able to audit me. Welcome to the Doug TenNapel channel. Let's watch the news together on the IRS. Trump smoking, gutting the IRS, Elon Musk burning it down. But first this.
Is now being audited over its handling of sensitive government data. That news coming as the IRS finds itself severely shorthanded this tax season after being subjected to several rounds of DOGE cuts.
Good. They're unhanded. They don't have enough people to help them out this tax season. Everyone's rooting against the IRS. That makes me happy.
In America, weekend anchor Henna Dova is here with a deeper dive. So, Henna, we're in the middle of tax season. I just gathered my last-minute documents last week. What's the latest when it comes to layoffs?
By the way, we're having to file taxes ourselves, and we're coming up short. As usual, we got to throw a little money out, pay a check to the government for the privilege of having them waste all our money on wars and fraud and corruption.
IRS.
Good morning, Anna. Good morning, everyone. Well, the last several weeks for federal workers have been consumed by a cycle of layoffs, rehiring, and then more layoffs. Just this week, the Supreme Court stopped a lower court order to bring back more than 16,000 federal employees. That's across 6 departments. It's the Department of Energy, Agriculture, Defense, Veterans Affairs, the Interior, and Treasury, which handles the IRS.
Look at all of those federal agencies that DOGE, Elon Musk, and Donald Trump have already helped. The probationary employees, that is the ones that they're almost like contractors. They were about to get hired. They were on probation. And all that happened was they just said, well, if you're not an employee, you're going to be the easiest one to cut. So you don't have an official job, so you're gone. It's the old last one hired, first one fired. And then, of course, all the left went nuts. And then, you know, that's their job too. But who cares? It's a good start. It's only 7,000 employees, guys, out of like 3 million.
So let's stick with the IRS. The agency's plans to rehire about 7,000 probationary employees fired in February. Well, that's ground to a halt in the wake of that Supreme Court order you just mentioned.
7,000 employees are going to be fired at the IRS. Remember, Joe Biden hired 87,000 employees. You're only losing 7,000 of them? You know what you call that? That's called a good head start.
These IRS workers who have been employed for less than a year were set to be rehired to help with the busy tax season as all of us are getting our documents ready. And that's not the only cuts the IRS is facing. There's a new round of layoffs. It's targeting the Office of Civil Rights and Compliance, formerly known as the Office of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion.
The DEI office cut all those people. That's all dead wood. Dead weight, dead wood, not doing anything, not hired based on their merit. That's just political correctness. So get rid of all those people.
Within the IRS, which is reportedly set to cut 75% of its staff. Now, that's part of reported plans to cut as many as 20,000 IRS employees altogether. Now, the federal government says we shouldn't expect any delays, but we should definitely pack our patience every time we talk to someone with the IRS.
All right. And Henna, what's the White House saying about these recent cuts?
Yeah, they're not backing down on this. The administration reiterated to News Nation that the president and DOGE are working to identify waste, fraud, and abuse. And that's across the entire executive branch. A spokesperson from the Treasury Department did expand on that, claiming that the IRS is being streamlined, calling it a critical and strategic initiative to improve taxpayer services, strengthen data, and efficiency. But we'll see how it plays out come April 15th. Anna.
Yeah, this is only going to help. You know, the IRS, anyone who's ever deal with any government agency knows it's all waste. They're clunky. They need to be streamlined, updated. Elon's going to fix all that. You can cut 75% of the employees there and you wouldn't skip a beat. However, speaking of skipping a beat, I never skip beating on Geraldo Rivera.
I believe that he ambushed China. I believe that he suckered the whole world into believing that he was going to go down in this, this Harry Carey, this suicide mission.
So you think this is
against the world?
The plan all along?
I think with him, it's so much spontaneous, but I believe it evolved. I mean, Monday, so many people were feeling terrible pain.
Yeah.
The markets were tanking. There was no, end in sight. People were watching their 401ks, their IRAs disappear. The whole nation was, I think, trembling over the uncertainty of where we were going with this. It was
they were told all this stuff and then they became uncertain. They were told that their 401ks were going to die. Look, anyone who sold on their 401k or panicked or collapsed or whatever over a 3-day crash in the stock market should not be in the market. So none of the pros, no one make it. And the other thing is, most people by far, Geraldo, that's a snobby take of his. Most people don't have money on the market. Most normal Americans don't have money on the market. Most normal Americans don't even have a robust 401k, buddy. So no, the panic wasn't wide. It was all a giant media stunt. It was pure panic and pure peer pressure to try to get Trump to change. Now, what is true is when Japan started selling their bonds, they hold American bonds. When Japan started selling those bonds, yeah, that's real. That's when Trump started changing his position on the tariffs, which I think still is a mistake. He should have doubled down. He should have let it all fall to zero if that's what it took to get fair trade reset again in America.
He was picking a fight with the entire world. So I said Monday, I said, well, isn't the problem China? Why are we getting everybody, UK, European Union, Japan, etc. China's the problem. I couldn't understand it. But then this morning, I tell the New York story quickly. Yep. I'm at the Regency Hotel with a dear old friend of mine, David Sherrill, who does the stocks. Erica and I, my wife and I are together.
You're a broker?
You're my broker.
Of course.
We're talking about, oh my God, this is awful, but we're doing the right thing. You have to have courage. You have to stick it out.
Oh my God, this is awful, says Geraldo Rivera. I'm thinking, oh my God, Geraldo Rivera is awful. He said Trump has declared war with the world. Geraldo's mustache has declared war with the world.
I went to my Twitter followers. I said, please don't sell. This is on Sunday and Monday. Please don't sell unless you absolutely have to.
No, never sell when the market's down. Do I have to remind all of you how to do trades? I'm a barely literate comic book artist, and I hope this makes sense to you. Remember, we want to make money on the market. So you buy low and you sell high. When the market crashes and it goes low, you do not sell. That's just a rule. If you sold in a panic on the downturn, do not be in the stock market. Don't do it. You can't handle it. Look, I used to have a lot more in crypto and Bitcoin and stuff. I couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle the ups and downs. When it crashed down, man, my stomach went through I'd feel it in my gut. Just awful. And I couldn't sleep. And I realized I couldn't be that heavy into crypto. I couldn't handle the ups and downs. That's all.
And then, look what he does. Oh, surprise. This is why Trump is triumphant. This is why you can't beat this guy.
Great breakfast, by the way, at the Regency.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting about it? The president, you talk about going to your Twitter followers. He went to his, I don't think it was Twitter, it's probably his own platform, Truth Social, right after the market opened today. And he said, great time to buy.
What a tease. But then
now that's what all the professionals did. That's what Trump said when the market was down. And now it's back up 10% from when he said that. So you'd have gained 10% of your money if you did what he said. All the pros, all the rich elites, when the market was down and Trump said it was a great time to buy, they were all buying like crazy. Because if some money guy on Wall Street is buying, what is he really saying about the future of America? He believes the market's going to go back up. That's all.
But when he said that, everything was gloom and doom.
Right. But he knew he was going to make this announcement, apparently. He said he
knew. Of course he knew.
Well,
and then he says, oh, by the way, I have this ace of spades. There it is. And now,
Is that a little shady to you, though, that kind of thing? Or?
I think when you're dealing with, these giant forces, China's been they've been cleaning our clock for a long time.
Right.
Making a lot of money on the U.S. trade in a lot of different ways. Dumping product, not taking hours at all.
Wow, he sounds just like Scott Bessent and Donald Trump and DOGE. Good job, Geraldo. You're only a few days too late. He will not give Trump credit for saying the exact same thing, that China's been abusing us. This whole thing was about China, and Geraldo would have voted for Kamala Harris. What do you guys think? Is Geraldo's career over yet? Is this not the 5th time his career's been destroyed and he goes into retirement? I'm Doug in exile. Thanks for hanging with me.